8th SA AIDS Conference commences its 2017 three-day marathon-themed long walk to prevention, supported by PEPFAR, Johnson & Johnson, the Durban ICC, eThekwini Municipality, Discovery, Imperial South African National AIDS Council. This three-day caucus of minds is the host of various HIV and AIDS knowledge exchanges by public and private sector organizations and civil society at large. A vibrant local team of dancers entertained. The youth wasted no time at all claiming their place as they arrested the room with agonizing, tragic stories of daily lives.
Also, Mavis Mabala, a 25-year-old who went missing and was later found killed in a bush.
SANAC Deputy Chairperson Steve Letsike reads his.
On decriminalization, decades we have discussed this as a country. Where will we finalize decriminalization? Where is the agency? The prevalence is high. Violence against sex workers, female, transgender, and male is recurrent.
A group of unapologetic, confident members of the SANAC law and human rights sector cash in with placards, "No confidence in SANAC." Vuyokazi Ngonyelwa explains.
We need oversight. We need people that are going to say, you are supposed to be doing this, you're not doing it. Please, we want to hold you accountable. What is it that's affecting the sector? We just come out of elections. We just come out of a very strenuous consultation process with sectors. But now how do you go along with elections when you have sectors that have not been audited? Because this is an end of a 5-year term. We're supposed to reflect on programmatic achievements and challenges, but also look into governance structures, the sectors that makes up the constituencies that we represent. In the absence of that, it makes the structures much irrelevant and so illegitimate, which is the frustration that we're sitting with. Now, if I can pick up one example from the NSP itself, now the focus of the conference is on prevention, right? But if you draw into the NSP targets to put 85,000 people on PrEP until 2020. Now, what is that target compared to the current figures of 100,000 young persons infected by HIV annually? Now, we're not even covering up with 1 year's targets. We're only saying 85. How realistic is that? And who qualifies to get PrEP? Now, if we heard what the young persons were saying there, that the youth sector in SANAC is dead, it is as dead as the entire SANAC. What happens to the process? What happens when people are not happy with the process? And when you raise some of these concerns and issues, I think there's an element in SANAC that frustrates and silences people, that when you voice out your issues, people don't accept it as constructive criticism, but you tend to be labeled and identified as people that are unhappy with the outcomes of the election. It is not about that, but it is about following proper processes. And if the process is not followed, then we'd rather not be part of that.
But is protocol or following thereof not part of the responsibility of the chairperson?
Now, take it back to the broader SANAC board. If we have a structure that does not play its role, that does not do its responsibilities in terms of providing oversight, we are bound to make these mistakes because there is no one that is guiding the process. There is no one that is calling on the forum to say, but how come are you doing this when our own documents as the board are still under review? And now, if we do not have a board that holds civil society to account, because we're so confused by so many things. Who gets to decide on how we do things when we raise our own concerns, we are labeled as radicals, angry and arrogant people? But for us, it's not about that, but it's about striking that balance between the SANAC board playing its own oversight role. But if we have a shaken board, then it means the legitimacy of the board itself then contributes to all this mess. And in the absence of that leadership, with a weaker civil society, we come up with a poor strategic plan. And then the people on the ground are the worst to be affected by all of this.
Yeah, hence we have detachment on coordination and implementation and all this, because from the top we have issues. So what do you see as solution? What is then solution in this dire problem at South African National AIDS Council? This is the heartbeat of all the decisions that are made and the possibility of change. So what is then, therefore, would you suggest, or as on behalf of the sector, that should be the direction taken in order to mitigate?
It's a pity that we just had elections in the last few weeks. If it were up to me, I would say let us dissolve. Let us dissolve all sectors. Let us go back to the drawing board. Let us audit. Who do we have? Who is your constituency? We start election from that. I think the other major gap that we struggle to prioritize as much as we're focusing on national leadership is how this contributes to the confusion that national leadership is making at a provincial level. Because this has a potential of infecting how provinces also get to decide on what process they follow. Because we have a confused structure. There's so many structures in SANAC which do not speak to each other. There's so many documents which are still in draft form, but in the absence of final guiding documents, final governing documents, we are bound to continue making these mistakes. If it were up to me, I would dissolve the entire structures.
Cassia Qulu, CWTV, Durban.